Well, hello, church family. I hope that all of you that are watching this right now are doing well. This has been quite a year, hasn't it? Our world, our community, and our church have been disrupted and changed in ways that nobody could have imagined at the start of 2020. March 15th is now being called Streaming Sunday. That was the day when 60 million American Christians began to worship online and at home. By following stay at home orders, millions of Christians showed the love of Christ and helped fight this battle of COVID 19. And while we didn't meet in a building, we have never stopped doing ministry as a church. Truth is, LifePoint Church simply scattered all around our community. And this pandemic has forced us to see that the church building is only a gathering point, not an ultimate destination. We are still the church. We still have a mission. We can still be the church and point people to Jesus wherever we are. So that being said, we understand the importance of gathering together as God's people in one place. We are made in the image of God, and a big part of that means that we are made for relationships. And so we want to do our best to start worshiping in one place together as soon as we can. And I wanted to share with you today the plan that we are working on to reopen our building. The staff and church council have been praying, and we've evaluated the new guidelines and protocols that Governor Holcomb and the CDC are recommending for churches when they reopen. But before I explain our plan, I want to share with you our motivation. Our motivation is very simply love. We want to transition to live gatherings here in our building and an online live stream at the same time so that our senior adults and those with underlying health conditions are not left out. We are an intergenerational church that values 90-year-olds and 9-month-olds and everybody in between. We're not willing to gather as the church while leaving our most vulnerable out. We want to love everyone that God has entrusted to us. With that said, we are now working towards gathering for worship in our building in the second half of June. We believe that that's the soonest we can be ready to stream our worship services live online. We're in the process of getting the equipment that we need, but due to 60 million Christians doing online worship, a lot of this equipment is on back order right now. But it's not just about the equipment. We've started developing a list of questions that need to be answered before we return to the building. We're up to 30, and here are just a few of those questions. 1, how do we handle sound and lighting if our 2 primary sound people are in the age or health categories that Governor Holcomb has encouraged to isolate until phase 5 of reopening, which is in July? 2, how do we make sure that kids aren't running around before and after service in order to honor social distancing guidelines? Will parents be willing to keep their kids close? State guidance suggests that we not open children's areas until school begins. 3, what's our strategy to clean and sanitize our church in real time during the meetings? Who does that? If we do 2 services, who does the cleaning between services? And how do we protect our 2 custodians, Linda and Christy, as they clean the building? 4, how soon will we be able to get the cleaning and sanitizing supplies that we need and the video equipment that we need for a live stream? 5, we will need to encourage people to enter and exit the building without lingering to talk and visit with each other. How will our congregation react to that? Do we enforce this? 6, what do we do so our community kids can worship with us? 7, what is our plan for when a person who has a confirmed case of COVID-19 has been in our facility? And like I said, we already have 30 of those kinds of questions, and our list seems to keep growing. It's important for everyone to understand that when we do return to the building, it will be very different. We're going to ask people to spread out, giving one another 6 feet of space. We'll ask you to not gather to socialize with one another before or after the service. We won't offer children's ministry for a while, so kids will stay with their parents. And we'll make every effort to ensure that how we gather in our building is in harmony with our state and local leaders, medical professionals, CDC recommendations, and the heartbeat of our church family. COVID-19 has changed everything for how we will gather together in a building. But here's the good news. Even though we haven't been gathering in a building, we are still the church, and people are still being pointed to life with Jesus. Discipleship is happening. A new men's discipleship group launched in the midst of this pandemic. 47 adults jumped into our Scattered Church Challenge. Our online presence is having an impact. Just this week, a single mom reached out to us for help. Some of her coworkers were watching our service online, and so she watched with them and heard our offer to help those in need. And so she reached out to us, and we're going to help her. In addition, we are having people from faraway places joining us on a regular basis, finding the encouragement and hope of Jesus. Students are engaging in Bible reading plans together. Plus, hungry people are being fed. And if you don't realize it, that's a really big deal to Jesus. In Matthew 25, Jesus said this, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, for I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink." I could go on, but those are just a few of the good things happening with us being the scattered church. So what's next? What are our next steps between now and late June? Well, one, we will continue to worship online. We will continue to do our best to be in contact with all of you. We're developing a reopening team. And honestly, it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck approach to this reopening. We'll need a well-trained greeting team, a cleaning crew, and so much more. And so if you want to worship in the building, then it's important for you to ask yourself, what am I willing to do to make that happen? There's actually a link for a form to make this happen below in the description of this video. I want to encourage you to fill it out. We can't reopen without everyone doing their part. One idea that we're really excited about is what we're calling parking lot parties. On Sunday evening, May 31st, we will have a parking lot party here in our church parking lot. It'll be an evening of worship and encouragement and prayer. We will get the details out to you soon about that, but we hope that you'll plan on joining us that evening here in our church parking lot. Well, as I wrap up, I want to acknowledge that I realize there are many opinions surrounding our nation's response to this pandemic. We also understand that there are many within our congregation who will view all things COVID-19 very differently. We understand the variety of positions. So here's what we're asking. Please understand that our response is an attempt to do the best that we can to love everyone in our church well, to love our community well, and to ensure a safe environment for you to worship in. And to make sure we're all on the same page, everything that I just said is subject to change because that's the world that we live in right now. The governor could change everything in 2 weeks. So we will continue to roll with whatever changes are presented to us. And one more thing. You are loved. Always, no matter what, and you are not alone. Can't wait until we get to be back together again here in our building. We'll see you later.